In 1995, the original PlayStation launched in North America, and in the following year, 1996, the PlayStation's first mascot appeared in the form of Crash Bandicoot. Crash went on to become one of the most successful games to ever release on the PlayStation 1, selling over 6 million copies in the span of its release cycle. It went on to span 2 sequels, as well as a spin-off game developed by the original developers. After developing Crash 1, 2, 3, and Team Racing, Naughty Dog decided to take their talents elsewhere in the gaming world. Following Naughty Dog's departure, the ensuing games in the series never found the success that the original games found on the original PlayStation. Sadly, the series went dormant following Crash Bandicoot Mutant, and from 2008 to 2016, there wasn't a single main series game released, with only 2 minor race card games coming out for iOS. But something beautiful happened in E3 2016.
Yeah, that's right. No t-shirt tonight, but I'm proud to announce that we work with our partners at Activision, who are going to bring back the original Crash, Crash 2, and Crash Warped, fully remastered from the ground up for PlayStation 4.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another video and another discussion. Today's discussion is going to be regarding the Crash Bandicoot series, obviously. And yes, I have been lazy. Yes, I've been slacking off when it comes to videos. But it's a new week. It's summer. I have a lot of time now. Well, not really. I have a little bit of time, but I have a couple days to make some videos. So I'm going to pump out some videos now. Hopefully, Ian can start pumping out videos too. But this video is not going to be focusing on the reboots of the series, of the franchise. Is going to be talking about the future games of the franchise and what they should do to improve on the series and be good games as standalone titles. I'll be focusing on 3 points today, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I think the most important thing they can do is have the warp rooms come back and have all the gems, the crystals, and all that kind of stuff, have all that come back, so there's replay value to the game. Plus, you can access each level easily without having some level select screen, which they had, like they had, I think Crash the Titans had that. But if they have the warp room back, it would make it so much better, and they could implement the warp room within the story. They can make the warp room, you know, really big and all, and really different and stuff, and that would be really awesome. So I think the biggest thing they can do is implement a warp room. Although that might sound kind of minor, having a warp room is really big. They haven't had a warp room since Wrath of Cortex, and although people say Wrath of Cortex sucked, the one thing it did really good was have warp rooms. Plus, it wasn't that bad of a game, really. It was, you know, it was, in my opinion, better than every game after Twinsanity. It's like Minor Mutant, Crash the Titan. Those 2 games, although they're not bad games necessarily, they're not good Crash games. So, yeah. But if you add warp rooms back, that would make the game a lot better, because you have 1, nostalgia factor, 2, easy way of implementing story around the warp room, and 3, an easier way of accessing each level and adding replayability to the game. Probably something more important than warp rooms, although not in my opinion more important, but in the average consumer more important, is level design. Level design is very important in every video game ever made, because it determines whether or not you enjoy the game or you hate the game most of the time. But the way they should design levels in a new Crash Bandicoot game, say if it was being made right now, a new Crash Bandicoot game, is make the levels the same as Twinsanity have their levels. Crash Twinsanity. Crash Twinsanity's levels were open-ended. You could explore every nook and cranny. You know, you could do whatever you wanted within the area you were in, and it wasn't necessarily quote-unquote linear. It was different. It was good. It worked well within the game, although there was a lot of glitches, and the story-wise, it wasn't too good. But, you know, gameplay-wise, I thought Twinsanity's levels were really good, and they would work really good in a warp room setting, because you can implement the story better within the warp rooms and ultimately within the actual levels themselves. Plus, you can replay the levels, which you couldn't do in Twinsanity because there wasn't an easy way of doing it. But you can do it in a new game if you implement a warp room, because in the warp rooms you obviously can go back to the games. Plus you can have the feature of gems and crystals be implemented, as well as time trials, because it's in a warp room already. So it would be a good way of implementing replay value and making the game a lot better for a new consumer, as well as a lot better for an old-time consumer like me who enjoys the nostalgia factor of having a warp room be present. Probably something more important than warp rooms, although not in my opinion more important, but in the average consumer more important, is more important than level design and warp rooms, though, is character design, which if this wasn't a Crash game, it wouldn't be nearly as important, because the reason why Mind Over Mutant and Crash the Titans failed so miserably when it came to fan perception was the characters looked like crap compared to their original designs. Like, Tiny was a little freaking weird ass, you know, little bitch. Like, he looks stupid as hell. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Tiny looks stupid as hell compared to his original design, alright? Cortex looked okay. Everything else looked fine. Coco looked kind of weird. But Tiny looked fucking stupid as hell. And Crunch looked way too Mr. T-esque, which another YouTuber on here has said before, but I'm still gonna reiterate that he shouldn't look like that. And Aku Aku looks like an ape, which is weird. Like, his design isn't bad, it's just too different from the original. You need to keep the original in mind when you make the design different, even in the slightest bit. And Aku Aku looks like a freaking strip of bacon. He looks so stupid. Like, why would you alter the design so much? It does not make like, whenever you do this to a beloved franchise, you alter the look of the characters, it never gets positive reception. It always looks bad, and it always looks out of place with a game where it already has an established universe. So keep the character designs simple and the same as they were back in the good old days in the PS1 and early PS2 days. Have the designs look good. If they look good, the game is almost guaranteed to be a lot better than Mind Over Mutant and Crash the Titans ever were. And if you get character design down and you get level design down, you got yourself a good Crash game. No matter what happens, that's the two most important things in the game. You have to have nostalgia factor, and you have to have an actual game being built upon these things, these topics, these whatevers, you know. Like, you actually have to have a good game built upon these things. But if you have these things, it makes it so much easier to please the fans, even if the game isn't as good as it could have been. Although I want the game to be really good, these are so much more important than they would be in different game franchises. They're so important to have these things within your game if you want it to be successful. But those are the three things I would do to future games in the series. Leave your suggestions for future games if you have them in the comments below. Be civilized, don't be a meanie. These are just my opinions, but if they aren't in the next game, I really doubt it would be good. But if they find a way to make the games good without having to go back to the older games, then that'd be really good for them, because that means their creative minds are really, really, really working, and they're working to make the games better than they were before, and that's what really matters, just to have a good game and have a good experience and have fun with the game itself. But anyways, guys, I will see you guys later, and thank you for watching.